Lord, I wanna be wherever you are. Your presence is so very nice for me. Lord, I wanna stay wherever you are, Papa. Your presence is so very nice for me. Where can I be without your presence? Your presence is so very nice for me. Your presence, your presence, your presence, your presence. Your presence is so very nice for me. I've been searching for a place all my life, a place I can call my home, a place I can feel safe and rescue. No, I found none, I found none until I enter your presence. In your presence, mountain must bow. In your presence, my presence shall bow. In the things I can never stand. In your presence, the net shall shine like the day. Your presence gives light to the blind. Your presence gives healing to the crippled. Your presence causes the dead to rise again. Your presence, Lord. Your presence is a paradise for me. Lord, I wanna be in your presence, Lord. Your presence is a paradise for me. Mountain must bow in your presence, Lord. Your presence is a paradise for me. Disappointment must bow in your presence, Lord. Your presence is a paradise for me. I have liberty in your presence, Jehovah. Your presence is a paradise for me. If you get commanded in a child who lived in your presence, and it was so. Can't give honor, she entered your presence and was given, oh, child. I remember Jacob, he said, I'm not living here for your presence until you bless me. Oh, King David said, cast me not away from your presence. Take not your spirit from me. Lord, if your presence doesn't go with us, oh Lord, we will not leave. I call your presence, oh your presence. Your presence is so very nice for me. In your presence, frustration must bow. In your presence, barrenness must bow. No demon can stand. In your presence, Lord, no mountains can stand. In your presence, Lord, your presence is so very nice for me.
Michael.
In your presence, there is fullness of joy. Land that must recognize its presence, its presence, its presence, its presence, its presence. Anything must bow in your presence, Lord. Sickness must go in your presence, Lord. Barrenness must go in your presence, Lord. No demon can stand in your presence, Lord. No witchcraft can survive in your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. I need your presence. Hey, Jehovah. I need your presence. The other Makadosh. I need your presence. Hey, Shaddai. I need your presence. The bright and morning star. I need your presence. Lion of Judah. I need your presence. Highest level in your presence. Highest level in your presence. Your presence is a paradise for me. Your presence is a paradise for me. Your presence is a paradise for me. Lord, I want to stay wherever you are, Papa. Your presence is a paradise for me. Where can I be without your presence? Your presence is a paradise for me. Your presence, your presence, your presence, your presence. Your presence is a paradise for me.
One I see here. Let's get this information coming from the Kingdom of Morocco. Let's see here. Let me bring in John. John, are you there? Okay, just hold on. I'm going to be calling him back here. Let's see what's happening from the Morocco side. There, we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Mr. Samway, are you there?
Hello, Mr. So, how are you?
Okay, good. Yeah, we already here. How is Morocco doing?
Morocco is fine, relatively fine, except that we having a very troublesome situation in the student community that we are doing our best to address with care also.
Okay, let's get a quick summary of this press statement here that we are receiving here. Association, let me come back here because it's in two versions. Liberian Student Associations in Morocco. What's the acronymic name? Listen. Okay, what's going on in Morocco there again?
The situation in Morocco is current, and you one of the persons who've been following the developments in Morocco, and you've been very instrumental. I want to appreciate you again for your swift response to our request. As you may know, that the Liberian students have been having some issues with the government, but that has been we've been in the process of resolving that. There has been negotiation, or is not where yet, but everything is on course.
Okay.
But this other situation is of a different nature. This morning I woke up in the evening and I woke up and in the evening I received a call and I was told that one of our students here appeared on the Costa show.
Receive a call. Yeah, let's do it step by step. When you say receive a call, where did that call come from?
The call came from one of our alumni who was concerned when he overheard a student recording on the Costa show in which the student made allegations against the government of Liberia and that of the government of Morocco. And as the president of the association here, I was concerned and I thought to know, so I went and listened to the recording. Unfortunately, I ascertained that this recording was extracted from one of our students who has been in a mental health home because of his mental health complications.
So what? So where is the student? The student is in Morocco?
He's in Morocco. He was studying in Morocco. Later on, he faced some mental health issues and he had to be hospitalized. As I speak to you, he's on medication for his mental health complications. So I was shocked when I heard that a recording was played on the Costa show in which he alleged that the government was witch hunting him, whereas we here know very well that this young man has been sick for a period of time, and we know that he has been on medication for delusional disorder.
Okay.
So when we heard Mr. Costa making allegations against the government that they were witch hunting students in Morocco, it was shocking to us, and we thought to respond in the soonest possible time.
Yeah, we managed to receive this press statement, which is limited, but we hope to, with you guys' approval, we can also have that published on our official website. So let's get to the bottom line of this here. You are the leader, you're being in the vanguard, very critical, even when the government is not doing something right. How this recording came about?
So like I said, I just want to lay a basis of the issue so our audience can understand really what transpired. So the student in question is student Musa Sanon. He's a young brother. He came to the Kingdom of Morocco to study. He's an introvert. He's not a person who loves to talk a lot or to relate to other students. He came here and he's studying informatics, that is form of computer engineering here in Agadir. Few months ago, especially in the month of March, the end of March, he has some issues on his campus where he was losing his mind because of as a result of depression, and he came down to his senior brother in Marrakesh, who is a medical doctor, and reported that he's not feeling well. He has been experiencing some delusional disorder or whatever. He didn't know actually, so he came to his senior brother, and I was informed, and this student was taken to the hospital, and later on the hospital diagnosed that this student has to be hospitalized because he's suffering from delusional disorder. And anyone who knows what delusional disorder is a form of mental illness that causes the person struggle to identify between the reality and imagination. So sometimes you will see him sitting and talking by himself and other stuff. So we were saddened by the situation. We tried to take care of him. He was in the hospital for a period of 1 week. Later on, he was released for little observation. He was placed on drugs, and he later went to another city, Rabat, to relax himself because he was sick. And this student, we've been following his progress. We've informed the government of Liberia. The government of Liberia has written communication to his family, and they've been following his well-being, has written communication to his institution, informing them that he's not doing well. All of a sudden, we learned that Costa played, Mr. Henry P. Costa played a recording in which the student alleged that he was wrongfully detained by the Moroccan authority because he has been critical of the Liberian government, and they are detaining him in a psychiatric home, which of course we know is very far from the truth, and that was used in a manner in which to defame the government for some level of political advantage. And as the Liberian Student Association, we regret the situation because we know that our colleague is very sick. He has been ill, he's not in school, he's on drugs because he has been saying some things that are not normal. His behavior has been very abnormal. So we quickly seized the opportunity to say, hey, this is now a political issue, and whatever recording that was played from the young man, Musa, we want to let the public know that Mr. Sano is not in the right state of mind. We have in our possession his medical report. He was diagnosed, and there's no political foul play. The government has nothing to do about this situation. It's a medical situation, and his family, they are in the know of it. They attested to it, and they even requested that he be repatriated back to Liberia. But the government here has been working with the Moroccan authority to see the possibility of treating Musa so he can return to school. So that's the issue. We just trying to draw the line and tell people that this is now a political issue. This young man is sick. You cannot take a recording for him to defame the government. It's not ethical as a journalist or any talk show host.
Yeah, Mr. Sengwet, this is sort of strange here. Let's get being joined by LPR analyst, Mr. Amos Joy from Atlanta, Georgia. So let's get to the bottom line here for the benefit of our audience. Is there any information as to how that was even done in the first place, the recording, and how it landed into Costa's hand? Any information?
From what I inquire, this young man, as knowing as I do, is not a talking tech. And the recording I listened to on the Costa show is a recording that was very strange because I heard the person saying that the government of Liberia is hunting me down because I've been critical of the government. I'm a Muslim, I'm a Madingo, and all sort of allegations the person made. Wild allegations against the government, saying that the government. I don't know how he got the recording, but what I want to say that this young man who you took the recording from, or whoever you took the recording from, the young man in question Nina was mentioned is on medication for having delusional disorder. He has been diagnosed, and you cannot extract a recording from him without reaching out to the student association or to the government or any authority and just claim that the Liberian government has wrongfully detained this young man in collaboration with the Moroccan government because he has been critical. So they are detaining him in psychiatric room. I think that is wrong, and I don't know how the recording landed in his hand. But when I called the young man, he told me that he was regretting, he was not feeling well, and he was saying abnormal things, and that is obvious because we know his medical condition at the moment.
So, Mr. Sengwe, you as a president are being very aggressive in terms of advocating. We saw what happened a couple of years ago, and that was at the end of the day, something at least there's some sort of stabilization. Have you tried? Did you reach out to Costa after this? You heard this recording as well. Did you reach out to him?
Immediately I call him because you see, we have to be very clear here. The Liberian Student Association in Morocco is not a political association. It's apolitical, and we do not have time for politics. Most of the time you see me on the media or you see me addressing issues, it's about the welfare and the interest of the students, because we are cognizant of the fact that government will change, another government will come, but the association will remain, and we are scholars, we're not politicians. So immediately I listened to the recording on the radio, wherein Mr. Costa made all sorts of assertions that he's aware that the government is witch hunting this young man. He's just a junior brother of Cody, I think 17 or 16 years. He's a young man. So I called immediately to Mr. Costa. I called him on WhatsApp and tried to make some clarification and tried to make him understand that this young man in caution is sick. So it's not good. It's unethical to take a recording for him and to defame the government. We are not the PRO of the government. We do not manage the propaganda. We do not respond on the government behalf. But what we know that the student in caution is our student, and we are saddened by the situation. We empathize with him. We take him to the hospital. We are making sure that he's better. So I tried to reach out to him to make some of this clarity, but it was not possible. And we know the damage this has caused. It has gone far, and this has also jeopardized the entire student association work here, especially in terms of relating to the government. If a student here can make a wild allegation and say that they be witch hunted by the government, we know very well that in this current day, the government will not take kindly to that. So we put a statement not to condemn anyone, but just to say that our colleague is sick, and as such, no one should spin any statement from him for political advantage.
When you say it was not possible, what did he say precisely to you after you placed that call? Was there any tone of some sort of remorse, regret, why he did without reaching out with the student community or even contact other sources in Morocco rather than to play that tape? What was his initial reaction?
I made efforts to get to him. I called him. He couldn't answer the call. Normally, we don't talk. So I think because it was not a familiar number, so he didn't respond to the call at all. He didn't answer the call. I called him continuously to make clarification. He did not respond to the call. I texted him, even he did not respond to the text and things like that. I tried to get to other journalists and other people who were have some proximity to him, who were on the show, to clarify that the assertions there to say that you are aware that the government is witch hunting this young man who is in our custody.
So basically, let me get it right here so that we can also bring our audience up to speed. And I'm going to be going to Mr. George if he has any question here. I don't mean to sound ridiculous here, but let's get to the bottom line. This student in question, is he from the Mandingo ethnic tribe? And so they try to fuse in this sort of politics, the divisive bickering that is ongoing in Liberia. Is he from the Mandingo ethnic tribe?
It's unfortunate for anyone to try to do that. As far as we're concerned, the record reflects we do not know the tribes of the students here. We do not know their tribe. But what I know is that Musa Sana is a Liberian scholar. He's a smart young man, a mathematician. He's an introvert. He's a young man who I spent most of my time with, and he's been sick over the past few months. And we've written to the school. We do not know his tribe. And the issue about tribe is not an issue in Morocco, because when you come here, once you see another Liberian brother, you Mr. So you work with us over the period of time. When we had difficult situations, you know very well what we went through. So we do not have this issue of tribe here.
And the reason I had to, this is the kind of craziness and stupidness that get us to be where we are in the first place. But the reasons I'm trying to bring that out, to get clarity to the listening audience too, that he's been witch hunted and seeing where he's been unfolding into the political landscape in the country, that's quite is making an extension outside of Liberia, and that's what I'm curious about, Mr. Singlet.
Yeah. Any reasonable person will want to be curious about that, and I think it is wrong for anyone to think the issue about tribe is not the issue here. The Liberian government offers scholarships to students, and the tribe is not a criteria for that scholarship. And most of our students here are. We have students diversity here. We have students who are Mandingos who are doing master's, PhD here. We have students who are VA, who are Mende, who are Bandi. And we have a lot of people here, the Kwede, and all of these people, how they call it, the Grenadians, they are here. A lot of people are here. We have a lot of students here. So if a young man who is sick, I have in my possession, Mr. So, the medical diagnosis of this young man. I even call you to make it clear and say, this young man is sick. These are his medical diagnosis. We've taken him to Sarah's hospital. They've diagnosed him of delusional disorder as a result of the high studies and other things. We're trying to get at the bottom of this situation. The young man's family is not even respectful to his family, because his family, they are aware of what is going on with this young man, and they have been in constant communication with him, and they've been in constant communication with the government. So for us, we don't know which word to use, but for me, I want to say it's unfortunate. The issue about involving his tribe, involving his religion, and saying that he's critical of the government. This is a young man who has never spoken to any political issue. He's not a politician. He does not even have a functional Facebook page. So I do not know. You, Mr. So, follow our activities here, and you know very well that the only time you hear Liberian Student Association is when we have issue with the government or allowances. And there's nothing other thing. There are no arrangement here where in government we on students because of their opinions.
Who probably you could imagine on top of your head that this was sort of orchestrated? Is that something that you can easily figure out, or what are you hearing from your other colleagues, you as the leader? How was this thing, how it just popped up like that?
It's shocking to all of us, Mr. So as soon as I posted this, because all of the students here now are approaching our exam, as soon as I posted this in our forum, all of the students were shocked, because in the post, in the recording play on the Coastal Show this morning, there were also allegations that the students took the complaint of this student Musa Sano to the embassy, informing the embassy that he has been critical of the government. So the allegations made were not only made against the government of Liberia, it was made against the student community here for segregating against it, or made against the Moroccan authorities. Because Mr. Costa said the Moroccan authority could not with the Liberian authority to detain him in a psychiatric room because he was critical and claimed that he's suffering from mental illness. So the students were shocked. When they saw the recording, they were shocked. And all of them were worried, because they said this is not a good thing for us. This is not a good thing for us generally if we have a situation like this. But the students themselves are aware that Musa is very ill. Musa is sick, and I regret that he's sick. I regret that we are even having this discussion about him. We are even playing recording for him. I regret everything of the situation, but I think if we could have done things properly, our own investigation and background work, but now we will not be having this type of discussion.
Is this line here, are you being pushed by the GOL, that's the government of Liberia, to provide clarity so that it could be reviewed as a neutral person who has nothing to do with it? Have you received any phone call from Liberia, the government, regarding this situation as a student leader there?
Mr. So, you know me very well. At times when I engaged the government here about students' allowances, people said that we were being used by oppositions.
Now on the flip side, right?
Yeah, you know that's how the people change. We don't change. The only thing about me is that I always been in the interest of our students here. So it does not matter which scope you remain from. I will always remain in the interest of the student. We don't need to talk to government officials to tell us what to do when a situation concerns our students here. No, in the scope of our constitution, we respond to these things. We are now a political institution. We do not respond to political comments. Let's be clear. If this was a political comment made, we had no business to respond to such a comment. But because this was a recording that was illegally extracted, or by any hope or crook that was extracted from a young man that is in our custody, that is in a psychiatric room, that has been sick for 2-3 months, that alone is enough ground for us to respond. We do not need government to tell us to respond, because we do. If the government wanted to respond, the government would have responded to the various organs of the government to say this is a disclaimer, because the government is aware of the situation. We wrote a letter to the government informing them that this young man is sick. The Ministry of Education has knowledge of this situation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other the embassy of Liberia, they could have responded to this situation, but we chose to do so because this has to do with one of our students, one of our colleagues we lost.
One of your own.
We do not think this is a good way to try in this political season to try to market any other political ideology. It cannot be done at the expense of the Liberian Students Association in Morocco. We not allow anyone to drag us into any political situation to think that we for this person or we against this person, or government is witch hunting us because of this. It's not possible, and no reasonable person should even imagine that that the Liberian Student Association is responding because the government has told us to do so, or the government has threatened or no. The bilateral agreement we have with the government to study here is strictly academic. We are not on obligation to respond for government. We are not on obligation to respond to opposition or for opposition. We are here to make sure that the interest of the Liberian Student Association is jealously protected. So that's what we're doing. And we do not need the permission of the government to do it. We do not need the permission of opposition or whosoever. So there's now a political issue. It's an issue that brought us on one of our colleagues who is sick and who is being brought to public ridicule.
Okay, Mr. Sam, we'll try to do our own best to get to the bottom line. There's nothing guarantee we will ever find that how it came about. So who you think is making this sort of political gaming here? Because I am surprised, because if I hear something like this, first of all, you want to reach out to the people. But again, we are in a game of politics, and so people try to do anything possibly they can to get at attractions, and this is what Liberians, unfortunately, the people love to hear. Who you think is involved in the sort of political gaming?
For me, like I said, I don't want to cast aspersion on anyone to say this person is that. The only thing I want to say that the Coastal show did not do their homework very well. They could have done better. They did not do that very well. That's why I want to say, because if you as a journalist receive an information from an individual, say, oh, I've been witch hunted by the Liberian government, I've been detained in psychiatric, in a mental home or whatever, I think the best thing to do that, you can reach out to other people who, even if you don't want to reach out to the embassy because you're not pro-government, you're anti-government, you could reach out to the association, you could reach out to other people to find out. But if you first have to investigate the young man's state of mind. If you will take a recording and do that, I think, like what you said, we are in a political season. People have itching ears for things that we sound, that we align with their own political message. So whatever that is said, they do not have the balls to try to decipher what is right and what is wrong, and to see the reality and the fallacy in them. But what we want to believe is that the Coastal show did not do their homework very well. They should have reached out to us, and even when the damage was caused and we tried to reach out to them, they could have responded to us and get the clarity from us. And at the moment, what we're doing now, we're not blaming, or we are not attacking anyone. What we're trying to do is to clarify our colleague situation, and not to try to make it appear as if the Liberian Student Association in Morocco is debunking a statement from a journalist. No, what we're trying to do is to tell you that this young man in question is sick, and you cannot use his sickness for political advantage.
Are you worried or troubled with this sort of bickering, the political bickering that is going on inside Liberia? At every quarter, even in the diaspora, is gradually spilling out to our young scholars and future leaders. And that, like you rightfully said, it has a propensity to jeopardize and to create some sort of uncertainty from the GOL, or even to you guys, your sponsor. Wait a minute, these guys, they are not doing what they're supposed to do. They are trying to get into political activities. Are you worried about that?
I'm worried about it, Mr. So, and I've shared this platform with you many times. I've told you that the politics in our country, we have to redefine the politics, and we need some hygiene in our politics. So it's a very troubling issue now, that even if you come out to do anything, people do not see the truth within it. All they see is the political aspect, which angle you're coming from. The country is very politically charged. The country is very politically charged to the extent that anything that would defame another person in opposition, government, free position, no position, everyone is running after that. For me, I'm worried about it, and I do not want to drag, or for the Liberian Student Association in Morocco to be dragged in such a situation. We do not want to find ourselves, because whatever we do here or whatever we say here may jeopardize our relationship with the government of Liberia. I'm not speaking of the part of a party or regime or an administration. I'm talking about the government of Liberia, because if you do a study of the Liberian Student Association in Morocco, there are students who've been here from the early administration who did their PhD and masters and returned home. Tomorrow, we do not know who will be the president after Mr. Weah. We do not know if Mr. Weah will continue to be president of Liberia. That we do not know. We cannot predict that. We are scholars. We're here to study. We return home and serve our country. That's what we're here for. So we deal with different people. We have change in government. We have change in personnel in government. We have all of these things going on. So we ourselves, we're very careful. And we are very troubled by the political situation back home. And we hope that this will not happen again, where an association of such a very respectable character will be dragged into some sort of tribalism or political issue or propaganda. We do not hope for such a situation, but we worry and we are following the situation back home, and we hope that the Mama Liberia will one day rise and everything will be well for our people back home.
So what next now with this sort of unfolding situation? But let me just quickly hear the student in question. Let us hear from you. Is the government of Liberia on top of this case, providing the care, connecting with the students and doing everything possible as far as you are concerned?
I'm the president of the Liberian Student Association here, and I'm the first person that takes siege of situation of the executive, the vice president, the secretary. We have a whole leadership here. And when these situations happen, we in leadership, we take siege of it. The next thing we do is that we report the situation to the embassy, and then the embassy can subsequently communicate to the government, the central government. So the young man in question got sick. He got sick. He came to his elder brother, who is a medical doctor. His brother took him and they diagnosed that this young man was suffering from delusional disorder. Immediately, I was informed about the situation. Immediately, we informed the embassy. The embassy wrote a letter to the government of Liberia, wrote a communication to this young man's school, and the embassy has been follow up on this young man's well-being to make sure that he's doing well. And we've been following his progress. As I speak to you, he's even being taken care of by the embassy. So everything that is done here is done through a procedure. We might disagree sometimes with how issues are done. You remember there was a point in time we disagree with the Liberian embassy here and other things, but they're doing their work. And this young man, as we speak, everyone is putting their hand on the deck to make sure that he's back in school. Because I really feel for him. I know this is a young man who is he went like the highest in his class this year with Moroccans, African scholar. He was the highest in his class in mathematics. He does not even talk to anyone. He's very focused. So we've been doing all our best to make sure, because his parents already agreed and said that if he's not improving, they have to take him back to Liberia, because they themselves, they are worried, and they said it's something like he has been developing from a very early stage, so maybe they could repatriate him. But the government, Liberian government here, has him on treatment. As I speak to you, he's taking his medication. We make sure we check on him. The embassy is doing that. They're playing that role. So it's not a good step for anyone to try to make someone appear very ugly in this situation.
Okay, that's the president of the Liberian students in the Kingdom of Morocco, President John Lpr-Tv. Mr. President, thank you so much, and I think your leadership has really done an extraordinary job in so many fronts. You are heavily involved, engaged in a wide range of activities. Our prayers and thought goes out to the student. It is unfortunate. And it's good that you come out here. This statement is very lengthy from LASIM's, Liberian Students Association in Morocco, is in both French and English. According to what I have here, I don't know what that's a statement here. But if I maybe go through the first paragraph here for the benefit of our audience, and we will see if we can have this poster here. The Liberian Association in Morocco clarifies that the allegations made by Mr. Moussat Sanoud against the government of Liberia, the Moroccan authority, and his fellow students on Wednesday's editions of the Costa show is a result of his prolonged mental health complications and should not be given serious consideration. I think we're going to get this. Okay, Mr. Sembe, before you leave, what's the message you want to leave with us as a Liberian, as advocates even journalists, because we have to do our due diligence. That's our responsibility. Equally, if we are to hold government accountable, it's not a matter of for or against. You want to build a legitimate, verified case against whoever you think that has an issue, and get 2, 3, 4 sources. You don't run with stuff. We regret this incident here. But what would be your word, final message to us before we let you go?
I just want to say again, firstly, like what I told you is the ethics of journalism is that you do not run with information or one source. You journalists don't do that. The only people who do that is what we call spinning in propaganda. Spinning in propaganda is the form of propaganda wherein you take a situation that appears in some other form and try to transform it in a way that it favors the message you want to preach. But you're trying to target that particular situation at a person in order to maybe score political points or whatever. So what we want to do to say to the journalists as a whole, the journalists, they are our friends, they take our messages across, they give us a platform to speak. But as they hold the government accountable, accountability is now a one-way street. They themselves too have to be accountable and they have to be professional as well. So if you condemn government of not being professional or accountable, you yourself got to be the change you want to see. So accountability starts with you, the journalist. If you a situation of this nature is not political, you heard our student is sick, he's in psychiatric home or whatever, the best thing you could do is to confirm from 2 or 3 sources. You could come to us, we could have provided you the medical records, we could have informed you of this young man's state of mind in the last 3 months. So the next time we do not hope for such a situation, because as you know me, I don't like to be in the media always, except these type of audiences arrive. But normally we should be studying by this time. But today we had to be on our feet to make sure that this young man, because he was regretting, he was telling me that he's feeling bad. Somebody took his recording and whatever, and we had to be at this point now. So we want to tell people that next time you try to confirm and you do not, when someone is in such a state of mind, you do not exploit that state of mind for political gain. It's very inhuman, and we want to urge the journalists to do their work the best way, because if every sector of our government or our society is functioning well, we have a very functional society. It's not only the government, the journalists, all of these people, civil society actors, how they take information, how they disseminate information, how they do things. It matters when we are building a nation that we want to be vibrant. So I want to say thank you, Mr. So, and to your co-hosts and your panelists. I want to say thank you for the opportunity.
So
we actually we actually plan to take on a very robust response tomorrow. Because we did not inform you before time.
Well, let us know. Let us know anytime. I mean, the nomenclature of the structure of our institutions, like the Republic Radio, is what it's all about. We just make sure to verify the information before we put it out there, because, like you rightfully said, in as much we hold government, no one should be exempted. No one should have the pathway to say, okay, because I'm not a minister, I'm not a chairman of a political party, so I should have a free pass. It is ridiculous. It is absurd. But let me just ask you this. There must be some sort of deterrent, and that's why we even tell our callers and people that even tweet whatever that is mentioned here. It's not a view of the management of the Liberia Public Radio, but we provide this sort of high-core conversation. Do you intend, I know you are not an investigative ballet, you are a student, but for future reference, do you intend to get to the bottom line as to how and when that recording was done and whoever that was responsible? Have you reported all of this to national government?
We like I said, we're not reporting anything to the government. The government is aware, and the government has their own way of responding to it. I cannot speak for the government, but what I want to say is that we are doing an internal investigation to know how this recording got out and who recorded this young man, or how it was. Because for me, I confronted him and called him, but I know very well the young man is sick. The man is sick, he's on medication. I cannot blast him and say, oh, who did this? Who took this from you? So what I told him was just keep calm, Okay. He was regretting it, crying, and all of that. I said, no, keep calm. We
I think it has added more medical to some sort of implication, psychological, because it just puts him in a very terrible state of mind.
Exactly, Mr. So, exactly. That's what we're trying to preach across. You get this young man in the media, you get his name in the media, you get people in Liberia, you speak to more than 4,000 people and tell them that this young man is being witch hunted by the government. You take allegations from the young man reporting and other things in play. In the end, if this thing gets to the media to a certain extent, this young man, it increases the trauma he's experiencing. So we want to protect our student here. That's what we're saying, that he's sick, what he needs from us. If you read the statement in the closing, we say that Musa, he needs our prayer, he needs our help. He doesn't need all of these things that is going on. He does not need any political rhetoric or whatever. We have to keep in our prayer. And just to give you a little gist, we appear on the show at the appropriate time. We have a mental health webinar that is coming on. We want to educate our students here about mental health, because from our observation, a lot of our students here have been facing depression. Like you know the studies in Morocco, you know a little bit of it, you've worked with us. So we try to bring about our webinar where we can educate our students about mental health and deal with this situation.
Let us know. Let us know. We will make this network platform because, and that's one of the things. It's not even in Morocco, in Liberia, in our country. This is something that is in denial. Everything is witch. The person will not say they left from here, they drank water, they swallowed domo, they ate fufu, they start talking something. So it's been put on some sort of supernatural intervention. John, same way, we want to thank you so much for being spontaneous after we got this communication to come here. But please let us know where necessary if you think we can go more extensive and that sort of awareness. Those are things that I like to see you doing, and you are always doing. Thank you so much, and our regards to the rest of the students. Our prayers and thoughts with them. Taking preparing for exam for this sort of ugly thing to just bust in the middle of that is a complete distraction, and it's very, very much unfortunate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. So we appreciate it if you also publish the news across so people can also get the message. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. Okay, there you have it. That's the president of the Liberian Students Association in the Kingdom of Morocco, young progressive scholar John Sengbede, reacting. I have not listened to it. Whatever transpired this morning on Costa Show, perhaps I will go back there. But it speaks the volumes of what inability, and to show how divided the country is, and it has been extended. It's not just only in Liberia. You listen to the tone of these people claim to be advocate, their inability to yield, their language, their tone is dangerous to our country. Joining me now is Amos George, is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv based in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. George, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. Fair to mention, I did not listen to the recording, but I will manage to get this released from the students. I worked with them in the past. And a lot of Liberians contributed to them when they were in that situation with government. You are one of the contributors, and they spoke aggressively. But hearing what we are hearing now, it is the divisiveness, how the country has been polarized, how the game of politics now, the politicians or whoever those that are involved, they are unable to take the real message to the Liberian people, and so they are trying to contaminate another section or sectors of the Liberian community. What is your reaction?
Well, so let me say this. I did not listen to Mr. Costa this morning, but from what the student is saying, I think first thing I want to say, we have to be careful, because we don't know. I don't know the circumstances surrounding this young man. I'm just hearing about his mental problem. And secondly, I don't know how Mr. Costa got hold of this interview, how he got the tape, or did he himself?
The recordings,
Did he himself didn't do the recording? And if so, did he know that this young man has a mental problem? So there are so many unanswerable questions. But because if you come Mr. Costa, I think Mr. Costa should know that. He ought to know that he is a renowned talk show host from Liberia. He got thousands of followers. And people follow him. When he says something, people believe in him. So when he come out to make such an allegation about a student in Morocco, the government is haunting him.
And for God's sake here, not to interrupt you, this has to do with a student. And I know in the heck of this sort of high tension political season, 2023 is all around here, and the probabilities of people who are in the propaganda world, they will do everything possible to kind of reconstruct the government. Okay, that is okay, but those sort of information must be genuine, they must be authentic. But unfortunately, it is not happening.
You know, and that's why I'm saying I'm waiting to see whether Mr. Costa will respond to these children, to these students. How he got this interview, this tip, how he got it, and did he know that this young man, mental state of mind at the time? There are so many questions that he needs to come to talk about, because the other students are saying that
would that happen?
Oh, I think Mr. Costa should do that.
Because I ask all of the questions, basic questions necessary to get to the bottom line. And I ask John, and John, I sing with student assembly, he's one of those who doesn't turn back. We saw the incident that transpired a couple of years ago in Morocco regarding these students. He was in the forefront, and it was a huge thing. Police, some of them were taken into detention. And so I'm surprised they are disassociating themselves. And to even state that the family of this student, they are aware, and the government of Liberia is aware, the Moroccans are aware. He's in a hospital, and the students are all concerned. Now, getting this sort of information in the public, in the domains of the public, it just adds up more frustrations and some sort of emotional and psychological inflations on this student. Like what he was saying, he was crying. So who did that? And they say they hope to get to the bottom, but as to whether we will get to the bottom line, that's another part. That's another part.
No, Mr. Costa, you're a fine gentleman, and we all make mistakes in business. So if at all he got some information that he thought to put it out there and realize later on that was not factual, Mr. Costa can come and say, look, it just want to look bad there. I'm sorry for what happened, but my source maybe did not tell me the right story. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody can make mistakes, but the biggest thing is for you to come back and say, look, I'm sorry. I apologize to my.
And I can tell you, this is the guts that we lack of politicians, stakeholders, advocates, journalists, commentators, and whosoever. Our inability to use our good conscience if we went wrong against society, against humanity, against individual with that sort of boldness. And these are some of the qualities and people making to reference and stuff like that to America. You see, America this, but we become more selective in picking, doing that sort of cherry picking. This is why America doing. That's what we do. This other way America doing. We are not doing that. When last, very few of our politicians will come out to say, I'm sorry. They will never do that. All of us, individual people, will be very defiant, very definitive of their position, give justifications, hook out things here and there. This happened 5-6 years ago. All is about the power struggle and to be on the right side of history. This is why it's killing us.
Mr. So, in order to be on the right side of history, you have to take responsibility of things that you do or say that offend other people that you know is not true. You have to take responsibility. That will put you on the right side of history. So, what I'm saying here is that I don't know how he obtained this tip, but if I were him, I would definitely come and say, look, to the student brother or the young man and his formula, I apologize. I know. Maybe my soul.
In certain things, I know
that is the right thing to do. You move on. When you apologize, you move on. And people will say, look, you know what happened? if he make mistake, he always take responsibility. He apologize and move.
But yeah, is the irony of it. Yeah, is the irony of it. Because when you go so aggressive, there are other folks. We saw what is happening to right here in our own in this country, USA. There is a certain segment here who are Trumpers. Today they still believe that the election was rigged. We see what is happening. We see what is happening now. We don't know what's going to happen on the 12th with Liz Cheney, who took a decision and said, no, this is a dangerous thing for the country, but there are others who are in national and high-profile position. Say, no. This was not right. We won this election, and they stole this election from us. Those sort of conspiracy theory. Now, it has also left here, and it is more kind of like rap on the ground now that people are doing this. Okay, let's get to our evening conversation here. There are some other news making headlines in Liberia. So I want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. We will open the line as possible as we can. Let's see what is happening around the globe and in neighboring country. I'm Afonso Zayensot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv, being joined by our senior analyst, Amos George from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, as you may know, we have been reporting for a while now concerns wants to be our neighbor's keeper as well. As you know, the Federal Republic of Nigeria is in a serious fight with the bandits and the Boko Harams and other Islamic fundamentalist group. Latest news just coming in, according to the Channels televisions of Nigeria, troops rescued about 13 kidnappers, victims of the bandit in the entrance in Kaduna State. 2 students were reportedly killed. This news, according to Channel, 2 persons have been killed by bandits in Channel local government area of Kaduna State. This according to the statement issued, that is today, Wednesday, by the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Awun. He said the bandits invaded the Gawudat district in the local government, shot 2 community volunteers to death, and also burned a local church and looted some of the houses in the area during the operations. This is coming from the hands of Boko Haram. But continuing here, the former Minister of Information, Professor Jared Ghana, has lamented at the worsening state of insecurity in the country, saying Nigerians do not deserve what they are going through. That's the former Minister of Information. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is also adding his voice that the government should step out. So let's see here. Let's see other major international news here before I go back there to our man. Just bear with me here. We try to bring this to keep you up to speed as well what is happening in the global world. Okay. This one here from the State of Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, opponent, has appointed a major opposition leader to form a coalition. My goodness, this is it is crazy. Okay, so when you see it like that, then a lot is unfolding. And of course, if you are a news freak like myself, Facebook Oversight Board upholds Donald Trump's suspension. So it's gonna, okay, let me just get you to do 1 or 2 things there. If you want to do it, go ahead, Mr. George. Yeah, so that's the latest news. Facebook Oversight Board upholds Donald Trump's suspension on Facebook. That's part of it. Conspiracy theory and a lot of falsehood, big lies flooding all around. So they have to take some administrative actions, and that what we see is playing out within the Republican Party. Let's come back home here to our viewers and listeners. We'll try to open the phone here. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if Amos George can recognize this picture here, courtesy of Front Page Africa. Mr. Joy, do you see that picture?
Yes.
Okay. So who was there in the navy blue coat with the glasses and the other guy sitting down there? Okay. There was Minister Zoka Wilson will be here this coming Sunday. I listened to some of the things that happen on Spoon Network, that there are going to be a meetings, and I was anxious and waiting to see somebody, one of the panelists who have asked that question. Is this meeting is is a person in-person meeting, or is it a virtual meeting? But that was left undone. But the president aggressively workplace phone calls. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if I have this here. I will go back to that. But let's see. What do you make of that sort of the showing up of those world football leaders in Liberia in conference with the president of the Republic of Liberia?
Mr. So sad for Liberia.
How?
You know, the stadium was built by Samuel Kanyado. And at the time, there were certain features were not there, but at that time, for us, it was considered a standard stadium. Now, FIFA come now that all these stadiums might be, they should have seating capacity and other features.
Is it fair to say CAF also been witnessing the absent match commissioners, match officials there, and those things was in there, correct?
Yeah, it was not there, but now they are holding all the countries involved to a standard that everybody must meet this standard. So, what am I going? I listened to that interview.
You tell me the story here.
Yes, I listened to that interview yesterday. So CAF wrote Liberia before the COVID that they were coming to inspect the fee. And I think FIFA or CAF are giving 20,000 to Liberia as a system to help renovate the stadium. So, according to information, the COVID-19 CAF did not come, but they told Liberia to do her own inspection and forward the report. Apparently, Liberia did not pass. The deputy minister yesterday said that they have completed 40% of the work. The hot water and things being fixed. The seating capacity, the bar, something to read this, the ticket, the barcode, all the machines they have to install it. That had not been done. The question is, how much the government are giving? They couldn't answer. How much money was received? The minister said he didn't know. They must ask the deputy. So
that was kind of a little bit weird, and that's where I think my man D's Yoka after we're gonna have a little bit rough time here.
And your friend Minister got very because Solo said it right thing. You know?
Yeah, okay. Solo said it, but to be honest with you, Solo tone of language too is very ridiculous. I mean, people, and that's one of the challenges for us we are facing. If I say for us, I don't want to speak for other network, because when you bring a panelist, when you are a panelist, you are a contributor, whatever you say is, as long as you are here and you are participating in the conversation, there's a way that your tone must be softened, not to give pass, but some of his talking, his comment, whatever, and that's also scary. These are some of it, because when other ministers and other government officials, we are on an obligation to do everything possible we can to get the information and have it sold out to the audience, because they rely on us. But when we become reckless in our thought, in as much we are seeking answers to some of the tough questions, the approach, the language, the sort of there must be a little bit of barrier here, you know. But he was, I mean, he was a sedition. So whatever bad blood that existed in the past, I think the organizer or the CEO will have called to his attention, because the minister was explaining. And that will give us the ground to get much deeper. Why you think when these American journalists or Western journalists are going to the this Islamic country, you see them dressed like Islamic people? Why they are doing that? Do you think it's because they want to get to the bottom line? Okay, one, the culture, but also it's important they have to put themselves in a shoe like those people, and because what they are trying to get to the news, they don't just want to get to the surface. But I think I have here. Let's see here. Let me play that little bit of transaction here. On the Spont network. Let's see here. Okay, just hold on 1 second.
Yes, amongst you guys, and I just like to indicate that I think I find myself in a unique position to respond to the issues at hand. The issues with respect to the requirement.
Okay, look, this thing here.
CAF
let's get this. Let's get this on here. Let's have a conversation here. A lot of people listen to it already here. The deputy minister, he drops the ball.
Yes, that's what I'm.
Yeah, he drops the ball. This is where Minister Isaac Dote was very smart, because when you have your bossman, we have the minister proper. Hey, your position now, it becomes dormant. Now, I don't know whether he was listening when his boss was speaking, and he came with this speed running 465 miles per hour without thinking that there's a radar or police officer going to be there to pull him over, and he begins to just unleash the information. It puts the minister in the positions of he doesn't know what's going on in the ministry, or as if there was no breathing. I don't know.
Yeah, Mr. So let me say this. You spoke about Minister Isaac. Mr. Isaac, I don't think you are honest, because he worked in the ministry. They run the affair of that ministry. So even if the minister invited him and he participant, he contributed on that program, and if the minister is coming there and he's on that program as a partner, he doesn't speak as a partner. He speaks as minister. That's his position every day. So he should have been there also to help explain the policy of the ministry. But he decided to take a backseat. You know why he decided to take a backseat, Mr. So? Because things were not right.
Mr. Joy, hold on there. I have my own versions. That's your interpretation. That's your opinion, which we get people to express here. Okay, that's how you see it.
Yeah.
But I see it from the administrative standpoint. He's a deputy minister. He's a panelist on that network, and the minister is coming. So in that interim, his position there kind of like a piece of cloth between the face of. Yeah, what I agree with. I don't know whether there was a conference, outside conference with him, Minister Doe, and the other minister to say, okay, your minister is coming. I think all of the top here, especially, it was a sort of consequential and hot cake issue, and everybody wanted to know what was happening.
Yeah.
All they should have done, the technical guy, the man who was going all over the places, closing other people's stadium down, as a claim, because they didn't meet the requirement. My question here, did he sit with the minister proper after all of this? And like you said, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to get. I am the guy, hand on deck guy. I went to Nigeria. I closed down studio. I went to Cameroon. I went to this place, and you were naming all of the places. Because when he said, wait a minute, I'm coming to tell something, I said, okay, it right there, we pause. But then when he started roller skating and telling people and some of the things that he was doing, are like, wait a minute. And then to come out, we have completed 40% when his minister already spoke. That just shows it's the same argument that we are saying here. The government, the oppositions, and other people, the chain of communications is very poor. It is ineffective. There's no coordination.
Yeah, but Mr. So here's the point here. I sure all these people were informed that they will be coming on that program. And if at all the minister in charge, when not sure a certain thing, call him, hey, lieutenant, and say, hey, Jeremy, how far are we? How can we address the situation? And you saw the minister himself referring people to the deputy minister. You saw him telling that the deputy minister can answer this, he can speak on this issue. So it means that the minister was also aware of the situation. But yeah, I don't have a problem with the deputy minister. The deputy minister was honest, Mr. So. He was honest. because he had gone to other countries and shut down the stadium and came back to
No,
Nigeria.
nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's what I'm saying. He was honored for speaking that. I commend him for that. He was honored to say that. But the question here is, they cannot tell the Liberian people how much money that the Liberian government had given towards this renovation work. They could not say FIFA gave 20,000. But what happened to the government of Liberia? How much money the Liberian government had put in?
my best educated guess, either nothing was. But remember, they can't throw the government under the bus. They work for the government as well.
But then, you see, Mr. So the Liberian people are not stupid no more again. You saw the response. You saw people reacting yesterday. The Liberian people are not stupid no more again. But moreover, President, this man, when they said football, that's him. That was him. Nobody that record. He said nobody. We are not seeing anybody to break.
Where are you going? Where are you going now,
You know where I'm going. Now, President, this man, the record that he set, we ain't see anybody to break that record. What has he done for the sport in Liberia? Tell me now. What has he done? This is a game that brought a man up to permanent, that today the man is known all over the world. What has he done for soccer in Liberia? I know people will say, I let you go to attack the president, but we have an honest conversation here. Mr. So, Liberian Popular Radio, you are a journalist. You are fighting for your network to be spread all over Liberia and the world. That is what you are doing. Because tomorrow when they say, oh, Mr. So was a journalist, yes. They say, oh, but you see here, this stadium, you see this station, you see this area. He was the one that started this thing. So, President, that's his area. What has he done? You got Professor Asasef Zawo. He's an educator. You see him trying to work those schools in other areas like Liberia. Because what? That's his area. President, so the people talk all these things here. What is the soccer pitch that President we are built in Liberia? To say this is the joy we are sport training academy. Children go there to learn how to play football.
Hold a minute here. Let's have a conversation. Supposedly, and for discussion purposes.
Yeah.
In the midst of all of these things that has been entangled by the government, even the president, all of that, if you were to build sports stadiums right now, is that a basic priority for Liberia?
Not a basic. He doesn't have to be. No, he doesn't have to build a stadium now, but he should invest in that area because that's his area. That's his area.
I see there's some sort of parallel connection here you're trying to make with Drubat, who has a sports academy in Cote d'Ivoire. I know that's where you are going.
JJ Akocha. So, right now, I will not say sports should be personal. We are priority, but he should show interest in the game, in uplifting the game.
So first of all, then this is what we need to know from national government and the government. I think we must hold all sectors of government, all of the branches of government a portion. And you have made an argument here: the insecurity, the killing, all that is going on in the country. I'm wondering, these people that make allocations, I don't even know what is the budget of the Ministry of Youth and Sport. We were talking here the other day, the police as major apparatus that is there to respond to crime, crime and armed robberies or whatever. Budget on 1 million. Yet we have all of our lawmakers, we have the ministers, and the very executive branch of government. So I don't know how this sort of appropriation can be made. It's difficult. Hopefully when Minister Zokiat comes here, we want to know exactly what is the budget under the Ministry of Youth and Sport. And I did hear him say there was no turning over ceremony. So that comes to the question of, it is a very poor excuse that it doesn't hold a dip of water. And it comes back, it brings us back to this point talking here Why did the outgoing government they were sent really they didn't sit? Audit is not a crime, it's just to verify. And that's what even Liberians organization here, everyone by the time they hear audit is like they are going to get you on a firing squad. That's not the case. Audit is just all about, let me make sure Alfonso is leaving LPR. What is the asset of LPR? What's the liability and all of that? That's all about it. But it seems to be like a taboo word or something that people do not want to use. When Helen Johnson herself went after Judy Bryant. And we know the end of the story. So why is that? So I'm wondering how many ministry or how many agencies of government were going to happen. So now they didn't do it. What happens at the end of 2023? Whatever that can happen, will you say it? You're not going to do it because other people didn't do it. Why?
And Mr. So, this is why some all continue to drive this message home. This is wrong. We should stop finding excuses by people who should have done what they should have done. They failed to do it.
What do you think will happen administratively?
Mr. So, let me say
from the executive branch of government. Let's make an educated guess here.
Nothing will happen because here's the thing here.
How will you say that? Who have you talked to? What is the evidence you can tell us?
Keith Hassan said from the pattern of Senator Dylan brought here was the pattern. That means the pattern of the government. But here's the thing: that nothing will come out of it. If the Minister of Youth and Sport were given a budget that they requested for to do this job, and they fail the government, they fail the Liberian people, then I would expect some action. But from what I saw from the minister yesterday, the government had not given money. If the government
can we bank on that there was nothing allocated to maybe after that letter came in to recondition to improve on the stadium? And I also fair to mention, I also heard him saying, some of these requirements were not enforced then. But we must also bear in mind time is significantly involved. So the world is changing. We never had Facebook years back. There was no cell phone. They had this stuff. I remember in Ghana, the phone they had called almost like Ben Larry. We don't have this sort of sophisticated smartphone where you can stay any distance to do recordings and all of that. Do you think there was some sort of appropriation? Something was given and somebody didn't do their job, or why it is?
Mr. So, let me say this again.
Why do you think the president got on the phone?
Oh, big shame. Shame.
What are you talking about, Amos George?
Mr. So, African best, European best. His country being banned.
Are you going in the directions of Prince Yomi Johnson, Senator Johnson, African best, world best, European best, all the best?
Let me say this. European best, African best, won all the trophy all around the world. His country being suspended because the government could not meet FIFA requirement. That is a big shame on President we have. So because of his status, and this is what I'm telling you, his status in the game that he played. He plays a phone call. The minister said they were working behind the scene. He plays a phone call. The president of CAF, the president of FIFA arrived in Liberia. That to take that this man has
a solution. Okay, he plays a phone call, and there was a spontaneous action. The president of FIFA, CAF, come. Is that a quick fix? Is that a solution? Can we give? Is that a part? Can we give him credit for that? At least somebody show up.
No, why should I give him credit? The credit should have been done, and the work should have been done. But yeah, what I'm driving at. He plays a phone call. They didn't send delegate. They didn't send representative. The head of the institution arrived.
So okay, and that's what I knew you were gonna go there. He plays a phone call.
Yes.
They didn't send any sort of Liberal message by player, not a coach from Sano, but the big catfish himself decided to come. Don't you think the gravity of that phone call, can we see it as significant?
The gravity of the phone call, that's what I told you. That this man, the weight, the respect he got in the football world. And he is not taking advantage of that respect, of the weight that he has. To place a phone call the next day, FIFA arrived.
You shift this the renovations of the upgrading as required by FIFA. Can we shift that to the much talk about talking point here, COVID? Is that fair? If they made that argument,
that's what they said. They said COVID came. The minister then said COVID came, and the people could not come. The guy from I think the LFA said no.
And this is what I want to know.
Yeah.
These proliferations of organizations of different grouping, LFA, Ministry of Youth and Sport, and there's another branch of a sport body, and I heard them saying that Musa Belete some kind of way name is dragging. His name is always involved in some kind of thing.
He was president.
He was president at the time when all that money, how many millions of dollars came and all of that. So I'm wondering if Minister Zokia to show audience on it, which of course I respect him for that. He'd never disappoint. If he doesn't come out, he's gonna do something. I'm wondering who is what are there some sort of technical meeting? And what I found a little bit kind of little shaken and sort of nervous to say, well, they didn't tell us. We just learned that the stadiums are going to be closed. That's a little bit hair scratching here. So what was the LFA doing? The guy who was going all over the country closing other stadiums down, he didn't see this coming. There was no sort of memo in circulation to these countries that they had a red tape on because of X, Y, Z, or these numerous reasons for which FIFA was looking up to. I'm wondering whether there was no sort of advance notice.
No, Mr. So I told you from the beginning. They told them they were coming.
Yeah, they said they were coming.
But then but I think the government, the LFA said that they gave the auction to do her own inspection and find the report. Okay, so now if you do your inspection, you send the report. Remember, if you lie, you could be penalized for that. So you have to say the right thing.
So what is the work of this LFA?
LFA is a Liberian Football Association.
That I know.
Yes.
So, I want to know. I really want to get that sort of
okay.
So on a job description. I know Zoka, we had that conversation here before, and when he comes back, we'll try to go much deeper into that, because the bottom line here too, somebody must be held responsible. Somebody got information somewhere what was going to happen. I want to know what LFA did share that information with the Ministry of Youth and Sport as well.
Yeah, but the minister, they admitted that the people wrote them, but they said they didn't get another communication, which I found it very doubtful.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Because so I'm not sure who was the proper, which of the proper institution FIFA was communicating, because with these big organizations, they do have a channel.
Yes.
They don't just get on and send it, especially they have the different branches that monitor, that supervises all these issues. They send it to you. It is your job to get it to the other people. So who kicked the can down the road here? Will anybody come out to admit to say, look, we are responsible, we take responsibility, and we need to move on? I'm not sure whether that's going to happen.
Nobody will take responsibility, or is this blame shifting? And as
let me see this one here. You said it was a shame, and which is getting massive support here. But let me play this video here, courtesy of one of the aides to the president, Kalasco. What are going to be a change of my video here? We start with if the audio is not too something that's
yeah, but I mean we can just brief on the body language.
It's more fun to do other things as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a cell phone video here. Let me take this call here quickly. But they said they were there to give their support. So that is a smaller one. The president going to have a big dream. Okay, let me go to this number. Number 0845. Caller, good evening.
Yes, this is the only caller from Colorado.
Why you think you're the only caller from Colorado?
Because I've been monitoring Colorado. I don't like to call because they're busy doing military stuff.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. Good evening and welcome.
yeah, I don't know a lot about Musa Belite's things, so I'm not going to comment on it. But I've been sitting back here thinking about commies, and I'm trying to comprehend the rationale behind the decision that he made to merge with the UPP, the CPP, all the other guys.
Who? You mean Musa Belite?
No, Kumis.
Oh, it's a
the
Kumis?
merger of Kumis with the Unity Party, the Liberty, and all them guys merged.
Do you have a problem with that?
Yes, I've been thinking. I've been very critical of that because I'm kind of leaning towards coming ideology, even though you haven't shown me a lot. But I've been thinking about the rationale behind the merger he did with these guys. So my thought has been, I believe that Kumi's intended being the president or intended running for office based on the ills he saw in the government, based on the how the government has squandered millions of dollars, based on the backwardness the country is going through, based on the past government inability to move the country from point A to point B. Those are some of the things I believe that incited not just Cummings, but a lot of the other guys that are trying to run for president. Because I believe that if those guys were doing well, past leaders, if they were doing well, most of what we see right now, most of the guys that running for office, they were not going to intend. But they try to run for office based on the failure of those past guys. Okay, so now if I'm trying to run for office because Eddie Johnson didn't do well, why should I go and merge with Eddie Johnson's party?
So are you saying, in other words, are you saying is it a wrong choice for Cummings to form a collaboration with these people or what?
Yes, it was very naive to me because
can he stand alone?
Yes, you see, so that's where the first issue comes in, because I believe that Cummings did not trust, or he don't have trust in his ability to convince the Liberian that he can be president.
But also, let's be fair here. Let's look at the field of the politics and the number of political institutions that are involved. So there's nowhere on planet Earth that Cummings alone can get the number to requires to get to the finishing of the marathon. Don't you see that as a strategic and good political decision as well? Or are we saying to the kind of people, can he merge with people, but do you have a disagreement with the people that he surround himself with? That's a different argument.
But let me just to that
behind your advocacy. He's advocating good governance. He's advocating that he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. So those guys who were there prior, they were not doing those things that he thought he can do. So if he should he can do these things, why is he then combined with the same guys who mess up the country to go fix the things that he's trying to fix?
Okay, quickly before I go to the next caller here. So what is wrapping around your hair right now? Are you changing mind towards Cummings?
Yes, I think if we put Cummings in office, it's going to be the same thing, because whenever you merge or you combine with another party, that means the guys combined with, both of you guys have similar ideologies.
Is that why you see?
Okay, so then what next for you?
So if you combine with guys under the pretext that you guys have similar ideology, and it was those guys that messed up the country, what the essence of me voting for you? Okay. Are you getting my point here?
You tell me.
No.
Yes, so that's what the rationale lies. If you think that these guys have messed up the country,
so which way will you go now? Quickly before I go to the next caller, which way are you pivoting towards?
No, I haven't seen anybody that make a lot of sense here.
Oh my God! What on there? 4 political parties, 11 political parties call themselves Rainbow. I don't know where the Rainbow coming from. Rainbow Coalition. People are Liberation Party of Dr. Cassell. You don't see nobody?
I'm not familiar with Dr. Cassell. My issue is integrity. If you preach integrity, you cannot preach integrity and teach things that compromise the integrity.
Okay, hold on one second. Yeah, hold on one second. Let me bring the next caller here. Maybe he or she going to say something, and to give you the opportunity to respond. 215 number 8190. Caller, good evening. What's your name?
My name is Victor Apome, and I'm calling you from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, Vic, if you were to call you, good evening and welcome to the show. My guess you've been listening for a little while, correct?
Yes, I've been listening, and I just want to jot in a few points quickly. My first point I want to jot in is to Mr. George. With the issue of CAF and FIFA president, according to the FA in Liberia, who were already scheduled for a visit to Liberia. It's just that the suspension of the stadium coincided with their visit to Liberia. So it's not because of the call that President we have made to FIFA president that made them to visit Liberia. So the visit was already in place. I just wanted to make that correction.
Well, I didn't know.
Is that an official statement from the government you're telling us?
From the FA, the Liberia Football Association.
Okay.
That's what it said.
Okay.
So my brother who's talking about Mr. Cummings merging with other members of the CPP to clinch state power in 2023 to be a bad thing. I disagree with you, my dear brother. The reason is simple. If anybody thinks that one political party can win an election in Liberia, that person is living in a dream world. That's one. Two, if you say because the Unity Party led government destroy the country for 12 years, and because of that, Mr. Cummings should not merge with the Unity Party, even if Mr. Cummings, who has an integrity, can head the ticket to 2023, then I think we're not being fair to the ANC and Mr. Cummings, because I believe that if Mr. Cummings has the ticket of the CPP in 2023 and emerge as the winner in the 2023 election, I believe that Mr. Cummings will set an exemplary leadership in Liberia.
Okay.
Reason being on his side record, that's one. Two, my second point I want to make is that the Liberian presidency has too much power. So the reason why things keep happening in Liberia over and over is because of the presidency. So if we have a good president, I can assure you that things will change. And a good president.
So, but no, hold on one second. These things have been there, and I agree, because the power needs to be decentralized. We need to go back in the days of Tobo, where the municipal government they were able to elect their own superintendent. But I don't think this is not a George Weah form. So then this is where the legislature or some sort of a referendum should kick in to say, hey, this is what we need to do. So why can't we hold these 103 men and women that we are paying, who are the direct beneficiary of the taxpayer? Why can't they come by? Why somebody come up with that bill, build a consensus and say, hey, we need to do this in order to have transparency? So I don't think that's George we are for.
Yeah. So, Mr. So, what I want to say to that is, this is why some of these platforms that either on radio or on Facebook are very important. As we head to 2023, I think some of the things we need to start talking about is
exactly, yes,
educating our voters.
Yes.
Because Mr. So what I noticed is that the province, sometimes we see the province to be the people who we elect, but I think the problem are the electorate.
The electorate, they are the real problem.
Power, yes, people that we put into power are causing the problem for us instead of fixing the problem.
Okay.
So when we, the electors, make the right decisions, then it will help us.
Okay, let me,
I can say we're far ahead of us.
Okay, we are running out of time. Quickly, let me go to 917 number 1694. Cora, good evening. What's your name and where you calling from? 917, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead quickly. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from North Carolina.
Okay, yeah, Brown, go ahead. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. First of all, I want to disagree with your guest that with you there, even though I don't know his name.
Mr. George, as our contributor. Okay.
Yeah. But you see, brother, you see one thing why today, and I always say that while our country is still behind because we don't believe in ourselves and we don't appreciate what people do for us. And that one is in the Bible. The God will serve him. When he bless you, you have to go up on the pulpit. It's not false.
So when you say we don't believe in ourselves, what specifically are you talking about?
Yeah. The reason why I'm saying that we don't believe in ourselves and we don't appreciate. Okay, let me take that up. Believe in ourselves. We don't appreciate people. And that one breaking our.
Who are the people you are making reference to?
I'm making that to your guest now.
Okay.
You know, he's saying that he tried to say that the call that Yahweh did not make a call. I mean, Yahweh did not. What he did, it was not important.
Is that what I told you?
It was very important for us because we Nigerians, it's the only thing that can make us happy when we see our boys and on the field play. Today we will not believe because we don't certify well. Okay, what the president is doing, some people not like it.
Okay.
But to be honest.
Okay, so quickly here, are you for you? You see that phone call as a resurrection, right?
It was very, very important.
And timely.
Very important because it's the first time ever in history for it to happen for us. Take a vow.
So what do you what is the dissatisfaction in everything too? And I agree with you. I think the call, that's where contacts, even in America here, contacts is in what should have been done is inexcusable. That should have been done. But the president's intervention by placing a phone call, I'm not sure whether it was at the same time the FIFA or official that were coming, but I think that shows the connection too with them. And in the video, if you listen to it, say, Walter, we are here. That was a timely intervention. So I think we must give him a little bit candy on that one day. Yeah, go ahead quickly before I let you go. 30 seconds.
When make it because the FIFA, he's the president, but he gave the job to another person to do it. Unfortunately, maybe the FIFA know that the people don't know. And they want to put sanction on. I get for the sanction.
Do you think the president should hold? Do you think the president should hold somebody responsible? Yes or no?
Of course.
Who that person you think? Who you think the president would be?
Who control the FIFA in Liberia?
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We gotta go. Let me see this caller here. 404 number here.
Hello?
Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Martha Doki. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, Sis Doki, thank you for coming. We always like our ladies, our sisters, to also involve in this national conversation. Okay, where are we going wrong here? So far, since we've been talking, I don't know how long you've been listening. Go ahead quickly.
I've been listening from the beginning.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Anyway, I just want to tell you guys, thank you very much for the hard work you guys are doing. What my input there is what Mr. George said about the president. He's seeing what happening. I think it's right. I agree with him strongly. Okay. Because this football player should know that he should know best. The two things I want to say. One is the president. He should know. He knows very well that what's happening. He know he's been traveling, and then he's been a sport person before. So when this thing came, it came as a shock to him. So you have to do what he can do to straighten it up. Okay. That's number one. Number two, the sport minister. It seems that he and the deputy are not working together. He must not saying it looks like they are not working together. Because if they're working together, they will go anywhere with one understanding. So I don't really know what's happening, but something is fishy down there. Something
not correct again.
Something not correct.
Somebody walking, somebody in the shadow and they're acting that they're walking under the light. Something not correct.
That's what too much there. But they need to put their hands together and work together for the betterment of our country. We Liberians, we are here, we want to go back home. When they do this jelly little thing and then they don't come out to tell us the truth, it may also feel bad.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the minister, Joker Wilson, has something on his sleeve.
Ooh, he coming here. You must call back on Sunday. I bring him here. So maybe by that time, just go to sleep, find a nice pillow, and some kind of drink will come, and it will come to. So you will tell us. You will tell us what on his sleeves.
Because when they want you minister, you don't know you didn't even know your own budget. The deputy have to come to say something that you do. You are not even aware of. But I thought deputy and the minister need to work together.
Right.
Because in the pipeline, whatsoever he does, he will have to go to his boss man and then put out it together before they can come out. Because when you put talk with one force, I think you'll be respected when you're talking with two forces.
Right.
So my input is Minister Joker Wilson, please try to put it out together and come to the laboratory with the right information.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, 10 seconds before you go. What's about the phone call the president plays? And because the minister said the president was making phone calls, and I know that phone calls were elected. And all of a sudden, we saw CAF and FIFA president coming to Liberia. So should we give him credit for that?
What I would say about that is that the president, to me, he was doing this out of a thing just shame. Because you've been a football legend to send to your country to be even banned. It's a shame.
So is that no to my question? Is that no to my question? Is that no to my question?
Yeah, that's no. You do it out of shame.
Okay.
Also.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your participation. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. We have to wrap up. Let me start with 719. Not yet. What's the recommendation? We have critique. We talked the other side. What's the recommendation? Let's pretend the government is listening.
I have a brief question real quick, Mr. Su.
For who?
Advocating to be the repo guy, going to Liberia to liberate the country from the past government that squandered the country resources. Will you go married to the same guys that mess the country up?
Who are the guys who you're making reference to now?
The UP, what are them?
Let me tell you.
And he says that you're a good guy.
What? That's a rhetorical question.
That's a rhetorical question. Huh?
Yeah.
This is integrity.
The implications and the interpretations will be varied to who you talk to. When you talk to other people here, they will want to know what you talk about and why you say this. So it's an underwater question here, but I think that's a legitimate question, and that's why we are here to ask all of these questions here. Okay, so my man, thank you so much.
That's exactly what's going on. If Kumi trusted himself enough with the right people on the ground, he can make a case. We are combined with these criminals because these guys took the country backwards.
Criminals? Are you calling a criminal? That's you already indicted them without even giving them the opportunity to face the justice system. So when you are also in authority, probably you overused the power. My guess, I could be wrong.
I didn't indict them. The country did. The country does. Look at the country. The country tells you that. You got to themselves.
All right. All right. Okay, Ty, the last person here, quickly, 30 seconds. Ty, 917 number. Go ahead. 917, are you there? Airplane can blow home. 917. Okay, if you fall to sleep and then I'm not responsible. Let me go to my mentor, Pa George. Pa George, we are about to go. What could be the outcome of this here? Let me put this question. I don't usually respond, but I think this is vague. There's no lot of clarity. I don't see the ingredients in here Mr. Keller is expressing, but he has the right to express his view and opinion. I don't see it offensive. He's not using any language, as far as I'm concerned, that violates our principle here on this network here. But let me just read it. The show host and guests are very dishonest. First of all, he's not my guest. Look at the title there. Let me move this here. We want to hold people responsible, but we have to check ourselves. If you don't know, ask the question. You see there, Amos George, LPR Senior contributor. So he's not a guest. We have guests, we have guests as analysts. Guest is the person that is invited to discuss, to talk on certain issues. So you keep you missed the ball on that. They are just speaking from hate and jealousy point of view. In their eyes, this government has not done anything good in Liberia. What a shame. They are speaking of hate and jealousy. He did not reference, he did not tell us what is the hate, what is the jealousy we are talking about. And say in their eyes, he must have some special glasses to determine. I know that we are saying that's not, we didn't say the government did not do anything. That's not what we are saying. We are just handling the issues on the ground. It's good to sometimes to have this sort of conversation. But Mr. Callot, I thank you so much for expressing your views, your opinions. If we are not doing something much, probably we need to double up. But again, my dear brothers, we are talking of issues of substance, and that we're giving it a fair share. And one of that is going beyond to invite the minister to, we are not drawing conclusion. We are having some sort of second species or guest conversation, but we are inviting the minister to give him the fair share to come here to have this conversation. How's that? So join us here to choose Sunday. Let's see what happens. Pa George, make your final statement before we get out of here.
Yeah, look, Mr. So let me say this. I don't know President we are in person, so I got no cause to envy what this man have achieved. I would never achieve it in my life, so I cannot even attempt to envy him. But one thing I can tell people who express sentiment of him, he has a responsibility. That is to lead Liberia. And if something happens, we question him, we critique him. It doesn't mean that we hate him. What happened in Liberia, I will say again, this is the first time, I don't want to say the first time, I have not done my research, but in recent memory for Liberia to be suspended by CAF, not meeting well or requirement of the Football Association. And what I'm seeing,
I think the interventions by the president is significant. So why can't we give it a little bit check mark? I mean, I know it's supposed to be done. Action are supposed to be taken. We don't know all of the details. I don't know yet, but philosophically, we're hearing from this conversation, we know somebody screw up. No questions about that. But what happens next is the intervention. Had the president, I place a phone call to see it happens all over the world. Overnight, we were here said they're going to be a great lag. They're going to be at budget, this, that. By the time you go look, president intervened, talk to Harry Kay, and by the time you go the next day, the vote, okay, we have the vote to get it going. So why not give that to him, Pa George? He doesn't deserve anything at all?
No, Mr. So let me say this. You saw somebody just came to say they were correcting me that the people visa were pending. So it means that they saying that it was a coincidence, but the people are already on their way. That was somebody said. But let me say this. Okay, I appreciate the president for placing the phone call, for bringing CAP officials to Liberia. But my question here is that, President this is his area. Why should we wait that we receive and placing a phone call?
Okay.
Yeah. Look, Mr. So, what will happen now? The shame is
that's a point. That's a valid point, because that way he came from to be where he is. So meaning there should be more investment in that area as well. But remember, you are also running a national government.
Yes,
and I know Liberians are in ties with circles, but they are also things. But let's wait and see. Why now? We'll wait and see.
What will happen? Mr. So, what will happen? The CAF official that came to Monrovia, they're going to get Liberia a chance. They will lift the ban up, because you know why? They cannot come to Liberia and the person appeal to them, being someone that his area and look upright in your face and say no. That would be the worst thing to happen to President we are. So for this,
will you celebrate that as something good for the country?
Yes.
Okay.
To save the face of President we are.
Because it doesn't make sense. It sounds stupid to me. Other people say, let them ban Liberia, let them ban. If they ban Liberia, you know who is suffering, you know who's going to suffer. The young people that are playing sports and at least get it, even though they're not getting much, but I think they are causing more harm. Okay.
If the ban, the team got to go outside to play.
And that disadvantage, or then you have to choose. You don't know the reception. Do we have the capacity to take our fans there? So that is not right. Okay, George.
FIFA will just lift the ban to save the face of the president. That's what FIFA will do. That's what we'll do to save the face of the president. They will say, look, we'll lift the suspension, we'll give you full time to get this thing ready. That's what will happen.
Yeah, it happens all over the world. All right, Mr. George, thank you so much. Folks, to our viewers and listeners across the globe, I want to thank you so much for sharing your event with us here. Zalaman, our man Abu, right there in the Empire State. Mr. James Callett. I'm not sure whether this is the first time, but I really appreciate your engagement. It's civil, it's on point. We allow people to express their views and opinion here, but we just caution people to have that civility. And actually, that's what you are exhibiting. You have the right to disagree with us. That's the kind of engagement we want to have. Mr. Dolo George, coming for finance, Mucha Willie, Guanon, Presinia, Tadafos, Zod, Junior, our own man, Michael, Ballard, Willie, Machalit, right there, from Des Moines, Iowa, and the rest of the folks. Brooks, Duo, thank you so much for coming in. Joan, Bricks, and the list go on. Abraham Dulat, of course, our Pranton follower, Marie Barrett. Thank you to John, Joan, and all of these beautiful people. Catherine Tennant, right there from Baltimore, Maryland era. Thank you for chilling in with us here. Linian to Rich, thank you so much. And all of you, Crew Boy, Dupu Crew Boy, I love our name. Thank you so much. Mr. George, as usual, I want to thank you so much for always being here. The Libra is on the run. I don't know why is he running away from.
I know why he runs. I spoke to the Libra the other day. I know what he's doing. So please don't just my man yet.
Libra is crazy. Libra is in a big contract doing whatever rule or breach. Something. I say you need to go to Total, you need to go to Liberia to do what you are doing here. But hopefully, I hope that the man is willing to help. I don't know why, and we have tried the possible way with Cool, but it's not working. Folks, if all works out tomorrow by 12. I should have a special presentation. Our correspondent is embedded with the president in Maryland, not Maryland, in Sino. We want to assemble a group of Liberians, people from different political backgrounds, hopefully to hear from them what they think, what is in their mind, and all of that, to have that conversation. Until then, to have a pleasant.
Did you listen to that interview?
We're going to have, I'm waiting for the team to be in the full house, and we're going to have that Philibert conversation. Don't start trouble. I'm about to sign off here. Don't start trouble here, Pat George. We're going to listen. We're going to have that when we have the full house here, then we'll have that conversation. Until then, our dear followers, I want to thank you. Just click like, Matter Care. I didn't call you Andrew, Sunday as well, and all of you. Of course, Mr. Jackson, Sam J. Jackson, right here from the Bay State. Thank you so much. Decanti Claro Bajibo, thank you so much for coming. And all of you, G Square Musa. Oh man, what a great name. Priscilla Comey Myers, Butu Manent, and all of you beautiful, beautiful people. Thank you so much. Alice Colley, thank you so much for coming on here. All of you. If I don't call your name, please, it's not on purpose. Sarah, thank you so much. Comment, and all of you people, thank you so much. By God's willing, same time, same station. Tomorrow is All Things Considered. So we're going to take a trip inside Sano County to get an idea how it looks like. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening. Thank you so much. Bye, George.
You've worked for months to bring your or your client's event to life, but unfortunately, the world had another plan. In reality, the only thing you lost is the venue. We take your vision for hosting a virtual conference and bring it to life online. No matter how complex your agenda is, we produce a smooth, engaging experience. Call the Liberia Public Radio today and schedule your event. Our number is 682-433-8802. If you prefer to submit your request via email, please send the request to liberiapublicradio2012@gmail.com. Our staff are standing by waiting for your phone call.